Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to 10 Days of Power BI. My name is Chinonso Okonkwo. Welcome to 10 Days of Power BI once again. So, as usual, we're just going to wait for like 5 minutes to allow others to join, and then we'll begin from where we left off yesterday. So, this time is 6:03 p.m. We're just going to wait for a little while for others to join in, and then we'll start. So, just hang on. We're going to start today's session soon. So by 6:10 p.m., we're going to start today's class. By 6:10 p.m. West African time, we'll start today's class. So let's wait for others to join in. So it's 6:10 p.m. and we are just going to start. I believe others may have joined already. So we're going to start today's session. So today is officially day 8 of 10 days of Power BI. And we're going to be picking off from where we left off yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about a case study of the Maven Toys dataset, where we went through the case study details where Maven Toys are trying to expand. They're looking to they're looking into an expansion plan basically. So they want to open more stores. So they've provided you with some data sets to analyze and provide recommendations on what to do. So I just started off with, we created some card visuals to show some metrics that I think would be useful yesterday, but I just want to start off on a fresh page. So I'm just going to be starting with the case study on a fresh page. So the data has already been gotten in and cleaned like we did yesterday. So the next thing to do is just to go right into our dashboard or our report. So first thing I want to do is I want to work on my canvas. So I've worked on this. I would just like to come to my canvas settings and just change it to a custom size so I can decide which height and width I want to specify. So my dashboard or my report is going to be it's not going to be able to fit on just this canvas. So I want to like enlarge it a little bit. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to pick an height of like 7.2 and let's see 3.8. And then I'm going to go to the canvas background and just turn the transparency to 0. So it's just plain white. So I'm going to go to my view tab, page view, fit width. So everything is on width. So this is my page now. So starting off with this, I'm going to get the text. I'm going to go to my insert and I'm going to insert the text box. So I want to put my title, or let me just hold off on this a little bit. I want to add a shape. So I want to place my visuals on kind of like a shape with a color. I'm just trying to give it a nice look, a nice feel. So I'm just selecting this shape. I'm just going to change the rounded corners a little bit. So I'm stretching my shape to fill in the page a little bit, like the very end. I'm going to change I don't like the shape, the curved edge is a little bit too, so I'm going to reduce the rounded corners to a little size. Still think it's a little bit okay, and then I'm going to change the color. I'm going to go to my format page, selecting anywhere on the canvas here. I'll go to this format page here, and then my canvas background, or rather my shape. I want to change the color of the shape. Then I'm going to go to style and just change the color to this gray color here. So I think that's fine. I think the rounded corners is still a little bit. So let's just go to the shape and reduce it a little bit to 6. I think 6 is fine. So I can see some blue. I can see a blue outline. So I'm just going to remove the blue border. So when I come to my shape, my border, I'm going to see the color blue. I'll just change that to the right color. So now this is fine. So next thing, this is just like a layout of where I want to place my dashboard on. You can go with any layout of your choice. You can just go with a simple layout, but I'm just trying to like create a little bit of design here. So I'm going to go to my insert tab and I'm going to insert a text box now to write my title. So once I do that, a box is going to open, which is this. So I'm just going to simplify that a little bit and take that to the top. and place that over here. So for my title, I just want to go with a big font size. Let's just select 72, and then I'm going to call this a Maven Toys expansion plan. And I'm going to reduce the font size for the subtitle to C32, right? And I'm going to just call this Q1 since it was given January 2017 in our case study to October 2018. I'm just going to write Q1 2017 to Q3 2018. I'm just going to change this to this nice little Cambrian, I think, and probably make it a little bit bold. Let's try to make this bold. I'll go ahead and just reduce this a little bit, and I'm just going to make it transparent. So selecting the text visual, I'm going to the background under the general settings, and where I see transparency, I'll turn it to 100% so it's completely transparent so you can see through the white. So that's that. So this is just like my title place here. So I can just bring that down a little bit. I would like to in let's see this Q1, it looks a little bit too small. I think I should increase this Q1 to Q3. I'm just going to increase this to a bigger size, say let's just go for 40. Q1 2017 to Q3 2018. That's fine. So I'm going to bring up so the next thing I want to place on this report is my card visuals, which I'm going to be placing some metrics on. So metrics are basically what the business used to track progress. So I'm going to be adding some metrics that I think the business might want to know. So things like their total revenue they're getting, like total sales they made within this time frame, between the Q1 2017 to Q3 2018, and I'm going to be including things like the cost of the goods sold, the profits they made, and the gross profit margin. So I'm going to go into that now. So next thing I'm going to do is get my card visuals. So getting my card visual here, I'm going to simply reduce that size. So let me just come here. Let me just pick a size, I think. Okay. Let me simplify that a little bit first. And take that to the front and just place here. So the first card visual, the first thing I want to place on my card visual, the first metric I want to talk about is the total revenue. And I'm going to come over to my sales table here that I have here, store ID. So coming over to the table here, my sales table here to check my data, sales table. I can see all the metrics I have here. Let that load. So I want to get the total revenue for this business. So I'm going to be multiplying the units by the product, by the price of a quantity of item. So I'm going to write a DAX measure to calculate that. And I talked about that yesterday. That's why I'm not going too deep into that explanation. I want to achieve a little bit much today. So I've selected to create a new measure now. So I'm going to call this my total revenue. So let me go over this a little quick. So you can go over yesterday's video if you get stuck here because I think I explained there better. So I'm just going to do a sum x and iterator function of my sales table. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to write an expression to calculate the unit price, unit sales unit multiply by the product, which is like related by the product price. So I'm going to format this. Okay, there's a problem here. Related into another sign. So I'm just going to change this to a currency format since, and I'm going to increase the decimal places here to 2. So I'll just drag and drop this on my field spin since this is already selected. So that should load in. So I change this to currency. Let me change this back. This is, you come here when your measure tool is shown and you can change this to a dollar sign, just like I did here. So I'm just going to change the dimension of this. So I'm coming to my format pane and my generals. I'll see the properties which will show me the height and the width. So I'm just going to I'm just going to change this dimension to one I usually find convenient. I'll just start with 594 and 499. Right. Let's just edit it and 499. So I'm just going to make a copy of this since I'm going to be creating 6 card visuals for 6 metrics. So I'm just going to, while this is selected, I'll hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and that would make a copy, which I'm just going to distribute. So Ctrl V, paste again, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So once you select this and you don't see your visual, you just select anywhere outside the canvas. You can take back. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V, created another copy, which I'll just place here. Ctrl V, and paste another copy here. So I made another copy. So yeah. Now that I have this card visual, so what I'm going to do is, let me just make this a little bit closer. A little bit space. So I've gotten the total revenue for now. I want to get the next metric, which is going to be the cost of goods sold. So the total revenue is like your total sales. Now, the cost of goods sold is the cost of like buying those goods. So I'm just going to change this. This is still showing total revenue since this is what I make. So I can remove this card visual. So to calculate the cost of goods sold, I'm going to come to my sales table, right click and create a new measure as well. Creating a new measure, I'll get to name my measure to cost. I can call it total price or cost of goods sold, anything that gets the message across, cost of goods sold. So I'm just going to add in an iterator function. So it's going to do that for the rows. So I'm referencing the tables that I want to sum, which is my sales table. And what do I want to do? I want to multiply the unit of a single item, which is unit. I'm going to see this pop up here. I'll just select it. Multiply by the product cost, which I'm only going to get from another table. So I have to access that table using this related function. So related to this table, which is the product table containing the product cost. So I'm just going to close this and select the dollar sign. Increase this to. So I'm going to see the cost of goods sold here, the measure I just created here. So I'm just going to drag and I'm going to drop it here. So that's 10.43 million. Next thing I'm going to do is I'll move on to the third visual. So I want to show a metric that I want to show the profit. How much did they make within this time frame? How much did this business Maven Toys make? So I'm just going to calculate profit. And we know the simple formula for profit is just like your total sales minus your cost price, which is just your total revenue minus the cost of goods sold. So I will go to my sales table, right click, new measure, and once that opens, I'm going to rename the measure. So renaming the measure to what I want, which is the profit. So I'm just going to use the measures I already created, which is the total revenue. Once that comes up, I'll select it minus my cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, I'll select that. So I'll just format this dollar sign because this is a currency, this is profit. I'm just going to turn this to 2 decimal place as well. And so I'm going to change these fields which I copied earlier. I'm just going to remove this total revenue and replace with my profit. Change this to dollars. I don't know why. This is dollars. So changing this to dollars now, I'm going to move on to the next metric which I want to show. So I want to tell the average transaction made. So you want to be able to tell what is the average transaction value, which is like your ATV. So should I get my ATV first? Okay. But let's get the total units sold within this time period. Let's get the total units of items sold. So I'm going to just come here and just say a new measure, and I want to get the total units sold within this time frame. So the total units sold is like the total unique transaction. So I'm just going to rename this units sold. Okay, let me just remove this a little bit and let's go to the table. So I deleted that measure. I'll come back and recreate that. So coming to the table now, you're going to see, I'm in my sales table now. As you can see, this is selected. You're going to see for each transaction made, which is each unit sold, you see a unique sale ID for each transaction. So there's a unique sale ID for every transaction. So if I want to know the total sales made, I just need to count this unique sales ID, and that will tell me the total transaction made within the time frame of my analysis. So that's what I want to do now. So going back to my sales table, I'm just going to select it, new measure, and I'll just rename this units sold, and this will be count of my sales ID, or what's that? Count of my sale ID. Yeah. So I'm going to change this total revenue and replace that with my units sold. So 829,000 units were sold. So let's move on to the next, which is my ATV, which is the average transaction value. So basically, the average transaction value is just it's just telling your a business what is the average transaction the customer is making, like what is the average money on a transaction, on an average transaction, what is the money in dollars they're spending. So I think that's explanatory enough. So basically, you're just trying to divide like your total revenue by the total transactions you have in the business. So that's what I'm just going to do. I'm going to calculate the average transaction. So what is the total? Let's see. Okay, let's come back here. I think this measure, I created a measure for units sold, which is sales ID. So units sold should be just a count of, no, not a count of, what am I even saying? Not count, a sum of the, sorry, a mistake there, sum of the units sold. So that should be sum of the units sold from the sales table. sales, then units. Thank God I realized that. I should not be this. Yeah, so this is it, 1 million units sold. So this is the correct form. So sorry for that error there. So the count of units sold is just, okay, I'm just going to sum up every unit I sold in that particular column. So basically what I'm doing is I'm telling the formula to sum up everything in this column, this units column. So that's what I just calculated here, the sum of the units. So I'm moving on to my ATV, which I call the average transaction value. So it's basically a metric that lets you know how much your customer is spending in your business on an average. So they use this to, I think this is quite important for a retail business as well. So I'm just going to create that. So the formula to get the ATV, so these metrics now are something that you might not really have an idea about sometimes, so you need to go online. So once you're working on a project, you can go online and start with some important metrics that you feel that you think should be important for your analysis. So you might go online, okay, for a retail store, what are the important metrics to show? And I think that would help you start out. So moving on, let's calculate the average transaction value. So to get that, I've just come over here to my sales table and create a new measure. Once that is created, I'll just change that to my average transaction value, also called ATV. So basically, what average transaction value is just the total revenue you got within a time frame, say like a month or a year or a quarter. So that total revenue, you're just going to be dividing it by the total number of transactions you had within that same time range or time period. So basically, if I had like let's say 100,000 revenue, I made like $100,000 within a time range, I'm going to be dividing it by the total transactions I made, which is like, let's say 10. I'm going to do 100,000 divided by 10, and I'll get my ATV. So basically, what I'm going to do here as well is I'm just going to say total revenue divided by my, okay, this total revenue is not, yeah, total revenue also divided by my transactions made. Now, how am I going to get my transactions? So this is where the sales ID comes in place. So the sales ID is unique for every transaction. So if I want to get the number of transactions, I just have to count the sales ID I have. So I'm just going to do divided by count of my, okay, spell count only, count of my sale ID, and then I'm just going to hit that. So this average transaction value is like it's in currency format because you're basically just trying to get, let's see how that works. Average transaction value. So I'm going to come over to this and remove this my total revenue and replace it with my average transaction value that I call ATV. I'm going to change this to a dollar sign, and let's work on the decimal place. I'm just going to reduce this. So that's $17.42. So that's my average transaction value. So just for ease, I can just maybe make it ATV. I can make it ATV. So then the next metric I want to show is my profit margin. So your profit, or your gross profit margin rather, is just your total profit made, which we know already here, 4.01 million, divided by your total revenue to get it in like a percentage format. So this is also an important metric here to compare your business against other business in the same industry. So I'm going to come over to my sales and selecting a new measure. I'm going to call this my, let's see, gross profit margin. So basically, I said it's just your profit divided by your revenue, which is profit divided by total revenue and then I'm just going to express this in percentage. I'm selecting percentage format here, and I'm going to remove this total revenue and replace it with my gross profit margin. So this is not in percentage yet, so I have to change this to percentage. No, I didn't select it well. So now that's in percentage, 27.79%. So basically, I want to align all of these together and distribute them evenly. So I'm just going to select the first one, holding my shift, select the others as well. Going to my format pane, I would come to align. I'm going to select align to, should I say top? Let's say top, align to top. Everything is aligned to the top. And then now I'm going to distribute them. I'll come back to the align and say distribute horizontally. So everything is evenly spaced now. So that's fine. Now I'm going to work on the what will I call this? I'm going to work on the text, the total revenue text here underneath. I'm just going to try to increase the font size a bit. So I just want to do everything at once. So I'm just going to select everything, holding my shift key, selecting everything, coming to my format pane, my category label, which is total revenue, cost of goods sold. That's what it's called, category label. So I've just changed this to 5. I think that's clear enough. And then I'm just going to come over to my call out value as well to increase the font to something bigger. It's 45 a bit, okay. Let's just make that 50. That will be a bit clearer. So let's just make that 50, and let me change this to Circle UI. Okay, so I think this is okay. So now with this, I want to move on to proper analysis. So I'm just going to insert a shape, like a line, to kind of like demarcate my card visuals from the rest. So I'm going to come to insert a shape. I'm going to get like a line shape. To fit this, like reduce this a little bit, drag it up, use this, use this. So I'm going to change the color to a different color. So coming to my shape style, I'll change this blue color to just something else. Let's see this color here. Okay, so that means it's the border. So the border is on. So I'll come to my border, the color of the border, and change it to this color. Okay, let's go for a little bit deeper. Okay, now this is okay. So I don't want it to be too visible, so I'm not going for a sharp color. I just want it to like fade in the background and not draw too much attention as well. So the next thing to go into is I'm just going to insert, like, I'm going to insert a slicer. So basically a slicer lets you to filter down based on certain attributes. So I want to insert a slicer so I can be able to filter based on like a store, because once you come up here, let's go to our data so you can see what I'm saying. I'm going to select the stores. So you can see you have different store names and store city. So I just want to be able to filter by a store name. So you can be able to see, oh, which store name is having this amount of revenue, or to answer a question basically. So to place my slider, I'm going to insert a shape to place them. So I'm just going to insert a shape first. So inserting this shape, I'm going to reduce this. I'm going to come over to the rounded corners and just reduce it to, like, let's see 4. So I'm going to change the color of this shape as well. Blue is not matching with the theme, so coming to style, I'm just going to change the color to this color here. Then I'm going to insert my Okay, I'm seeing a little blue color around the edges. Might not see clearly enough, but this is like the borders. So I'm just going to go over to the border and change the color from the blue to the same color. So with that done, I'm going to insert my slicer, which is here. So I'm just going to insert a little text box also as well, just to say, okay, you can select. So this is just the text box. Can't find my little text box, so I'll just undo that and get the text box again. So editing the text box, yeah, using it. I only need it to be small in size, which is fine. So I'm just going to drag and take this over to this. No, I don't lose it. Don't lose it. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it. Just going to make a font size. Let's just say for select Control A to then make it bold, place it in the middle, just simply that a little bit. So I want to filter for store name and date, as well as I think store location or store city. So I'm just going to make a copy of this. Control C, V. Okay, so to get the store, I'm just going to come over to the fields pane and select my stores here. So I'm going to get the store name. Okay, let's select the slicer first. Select the store name. So this is the drop down format. So I'm just going to zoom in. So once you zoom in, so I can be able to do that. So once I come to zoom in, I'm just going to come here and change this to a drop down. So I'm going to repeat for the rest. So I'm just going to include sliders for the rest as well. So let's just get slider of like the store city. Okay, let's select this first. Come here, drag and drop. So I'm going to change this to drop down. And I'm going to include date, so you can filter for date as well. So coming over to my sales table, I see a date. Select the slicer, drag and drop the date. So change this, or this can work well. I can leave this in this format. So I'm just going to go to view, page view, and fit to it so we can see everything at once. So this is not clear, so I might want to increase the size of this. I'm just going to select everything at once, so everything applies to all of them. So I'm going to be increasing the font a little bit. So just for the values, let's say let's open 5, so that's fair enough. Then for the slicer header, I'm just going to change that to same 5. So I'm just going to change the slider header color to, what is this? Slider header, the background to a light color here, just for aesthetics. I'll select this as well. I didn't increase the font size of this, so I have to increase the font size of this. So I'm just trying to bring them up to the same size. Now I want to give them space. I'm going to select all of them, select this, select this, select this, select this, select this. I just want this. So I'm going to go to my format, align. Okay, let's select the last one as well. So align to top, align, distribute horizontally. So everything is equally spaced out. So now that that's been done, let's get into the analysis of it. So the first thing, this is a moving towards expansion plan, and we're basically trying to provide an insight on which stores to into, like, which store location do you want to open in, how is the business, which product is performing well. So for the very first, I'm going to split this into like 3 analyses. I'm going to focus on the product, which product is performing well, which product is generating the most revenue, and I'm going to move on to my store location to identify, okay, which store location do we need to, like, look into opening a store in, which store location will generate more revenue for us. Then finally I'll move on to like the time series analysis, which is just basically a line chart showing how the sales trend moved, comparing like the 2017 trend to 2018 trend, so we can see if there's anything we can, like, kind of like predict going forward. So I'm just going to insert, like, okay, let's pull this downwards. So type out here. So I want to insert like a text box to contain the, so the first thing I want to do is the product analysis. So this is just a text box. Just going to take it up to the top. Send to the back so it doesn't keep popping up. So I'm going to just include my text box right now. So just going to increase the font first so it's big when I type it in. So this is, I'm starting out with 40 products. I want to analyze product analysis. I'm going to do a country and select the same Camry I selected earlier for the title. So I'm just going to change that. And then going to my effects and transparency, I'll just turn that to the very end. So it's actually product analysis. So I'm just going to shift that a little bit, give it room. Great. And probably make that like so. The first thing to do is let's go to our data and see. So for the product analysis, going to my sales data set, let's see. Okay, let's go to our product. And see we have product name, product category, and product name and basically product category. So I'll start off with product category. So my question now is which product category is performing the best? So in terms of revenue and in terms of profits, which product category is generating me most? So the the chart I'm going to use for this is going to be a bar chart or is a clustered bar chart here. So this is it. I've just selected it. Now I'm going to just adjust that. So once that chart is selected, I'm going to move on to selecting my fields. So the first thing to select is obviously the product category which I want to see. So the question for it is I want to start off with asking. So basically at this point, this is where I said you're doing exploratory analysis. So I've gone into this data set already because of time, can't be going into it. So basically you might start off answering some questions that might not lead you to anywhere. So you just try asking more questions as you go on and then you select the ones. So I'm starting off with my product category. So I'm going to go to my product table and I'm going to select the product category on my y-axis. Then I'm going to go ahead to select the revenue, which is on my sales. So this is my sales table. Where's the total revenue? This is it. And then I'm going to select the total profit. So I'm just going to change the colors of this to a color choice that I think works so for me. I don't like this color. So coming to bars, total revenue, change that to, so you can go online and browse for like two colors that are going to contrast to, I'm going to give you two. So I personally like this color. I think it works well. So I'm just going to type in the color code like 704. So I'm just going to type that in. Come over here. Total revenue, more colors. 77 and 208. So I'm going to change the profit to a dark color here. Okay, so I'm just going to format this a bit. So this is our product category. This is our product category by what? By revenue and profit. So I think that's all. Let's just edit this. So I'm just going to give it this like let's say 5. It is clear enough. I'm going to change this to a second UI. And okay, you can tell our why this thing is not visible, our y labels, y-axis. So I'm going to go to my visuals. Under y-axis, I'm going to just change that to make that visible. So to make that visible, I'm just going to select, just change the font size, let's say 35, and check if that's good enough. So that's good. So I'm just going to stick with that. I'm going to turn off the title because I don't need that. For my title here, you can already tell it's product category. So these are the product category by revenue and profit. So but I can't clearly see my legend, so I'm going to work on that. Legend and the text. So I'm going to increase the text size to the same color which I selected, 5. Let's work on the let's show our data labels so we can be able to tell what's going on. So data labels is on. I'm going to increase the font size a bit to 35. I'm just going to size this visual with a size I think 972, and so you can just play around with anything that fits well based on your canvas space. So based on mine, I think this is what works for me. So this is the first. So this is telling me the product category by revenue and profit. So we have just these product categories, and these are the revenues and the profit. So I'm going to just go forth and ask, so we want to tell what's our best selling product. So this is just the product category. So if we want to tell what's our best selling product, so what are the products that are selling out, that are probably going to run out of stock quick, that we should always know to stock up on because people are always going to be ordering for it. So I'm going to create another chart as well. I can just use this and do it Ctrl C. I want Ctrl C, Ctrl C, and just place it. Yeah, line to end, and I'm going to just remove these categories here. So back to base. So I want to see the product. So I'm going to my product table and selecting the product name, placing it on my y-axis, and I want to see best selling product. So I'm going to be going to my sales, which is revenue. So I'm going to place this on my axis. So once I do that, I'm going to see like a jumbled up because there are so many products we have. So for this, we just had only 5 categories. So we have so many. So when it comes to this, you just want to highlight just top few, maybe a top 10 or a top 5. So how do you do that? You're just going to come to your product name. Yeah. So under your filters pane, you're going to filter to just show you only 5. So I'm going to come to my product name. Once I select that, I'll see a filter type, basic filtering. I'll just come to this drop down and select top N. So basically top N would tell me top what? Top 5, top 10, top whatever you want. So I'll type in top 5. Top 5 by what? Top 5 by what's ranking? What are you using? So I'm using my total revenue. So I'll go ahead and select this total revenue. Okay, let me just select that and place it here. So once I do this, I have to click on this apply filter before it actually applies. So once I click on apply filter, you're going to just see just 5 products. So if I change that to 10 and I click on apply filter again, it's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this title, which is saying product category by revenue and profit, because this is just like my best selling product. So I'm just going to go over to format pane, general, title. Let's change this to our best selling product. Control A. We can say top 5 selling products. So I'm just going to write best selling product. So now that that's done, you can still further, let's just edit this. Let's change the color. This is not it. So we're going to use the same color. Okay. Now moving on, let's go on to let's so we will not be delving really deep into this. These are the questions I could ask of the data. So the next question I'm going to move on to the second step, which is like this, which is the analysis of the store location. So I know that these are my from here you can tell that your best selling product category is toys with about 3.9 million sales, and also it's also a very profitable product as well. I'm thinking there's something here. Can't really see something here. Let's increase this bit. Total revenue share like this. Let's go to our data labels. Decimal places. I want to increase this decimal places to 2. I want to increase it to 2 so I can clearly see, since this is also 2 as well. So I want this to be 2 decimal places, so 3.6 million. I just want to be consistent in this. So I think a filter is already applied on this table. So I can just so hold on, I'm coming. I'll just clear selections. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so that's done now. So I wanted to clear the filter so I can see the total revenue for the whole sales period. So I've cleared that. So that was where I was having an issue understanding. Yeah, okay. So this is showing me the total. Okay, I want to rank this up by okay, okay. So let's move on to our stores. Okay, I was trying to say something here. Let's take a big break. So for my toys category, I can tell that toys is the highest generating revenue. Toys generate about 5 million, over 5 million revenue with a profit of this value. And we can see that though arts and crafts generate a lot of revenue, but they don't generate enough profit. Okay, I think so. I'm going to edit this card visuals. You can see I have my data labels on already, but you can still see my X. They are just a little bit tiny for you to see, but they are there. So I want to remove them because my data labels is performing the function. So I'm going to remove both. For both, I'm going to select both. So I'm just going to do it like two in one. So I'm just going to select. So it's my X axis that I want to turn off. I want to turn off the title and turn off the X axis. So that's done now. So I'm going to move on to the store location analysis. So I'm just going to copy this. So now that that's copied, I'm just going to select it and drag and drop. So I'm going to change this to store location analysis. So for my store location analysis, I want to like put them through like a little walkthrough of like, okay, store location. So how many stores do we have? How many cities do we have stores in? And how many, basically, how many locations do we have our stores in? So I'm going to be using like a multi-row card visual to show that. So I'm going to show you how you can get that. So coming over here, no, not here. Coming over here, you can see you can just select this, which is your multi-row card. I'm going to select that and see that a little bit like that with this underneath, and let's just simplify a little bit. So I'm going to be selecting my total number of stores. I want to know the count of stores. Count. So let's go to the table. Let's go to the data table now. Go to the data table, I see, and I go to my stores. So I want to know how many cities do we have stores in. So I want to have like a count distinct of store cities. So I want to know how many store cities do we have, and how many cities are stores located. So if I want to count this, and I don't want to count values that already appear, I'll have to use like a count, a distinct count rather. So yeah, it's just like a distinct count. So if I want to get the total number of stores we have, which is here we have Maven stores, Monterey one. So if I want to get this, I'm just going to do a distinct count of this value as well. So if I'm creating a measure, I'm going to be doing a distinct count of store name to count the total numbers of stores. So if I want to get the store location, I'm going to be doing the same thing, a distinct count of the store location. So I'm just going to create those metrics real quick. So I'm going to, since this is based off on my stores, I will just come to my stores table, select new measure. So let's say, okay, let's say when you come to this, by the numbers, we have stores in how many cities. So let's start with city. So I'm just going to do a distinct count. How many cities? So I'm just going to come to my store city. So basically what this thing counts is going to count the number of values in that column that appear. Like it's not going to count it more than once. It's just going to count the distinct number. So I'm just going to click on enter. So I can, so if I bring that city here and place it to my, okay, wait, let's select the multi-row card visuals first, bring the city measure and place it over here. And let's increase the font so we can see what we're, let's see the numbers. Let's increase it like 450, so that should be clear enough. Category label. Right. So in our store location analysis, so this is what we have. So we have 29 cities. So we have stores in 29 cities. So what about the locations in these cities? How many locations are we placing our stores in? So I'm going to create a similar measure, or I'm just going to change the column I'm referencing. So I'm just going to call this the, let's say, location. I'm going to do a distinct count. So it says count the number of distinct values in the column. So I'm just going to select from my stores the store location, and I'll select this, and coming over to this pane, I'm just going to drag the new measure I just created, which is a store location, which is location rather. So I'll place it underneath this city. So we're going to see the number of locations is 4. So I'm going to create the last one for the number of stores. So we have stores in 29 cities and we have stores in 4 locations. So how many stores do we have as at 2018? Mavin Toys, how many stores Mavin Toys have as at 2018? So I'm still going to create like a similar, it's like a similar measure. I'm just going to change it to like stores or number of stores, number of stores. This works. Number of stores. So the same count, distinct, obviously, or distinct count rather, distinct count. I'm just going to let store name. So I'm going to see that measure, number of stores here, select it and drop it here. Drag and drop. So now we have 50 stores. So as at 2018, as at quarter three, which is Q3 of 2018, we have about 50 stores opened already in 29 cities and 4 locations. So this is just like a little boil down into the store location analysis. So I'm just going to give this like a title, like I'll come over to my general pane where I see my title, turn it on, just call this like, let's say, by the numbers. I'm going to increase this to make it a little big. Let's just select our seg view, which I've been using, and just change this to like 40. 40 be bold enough. Yeah, let's just save it to 40. So by the numbers, we have stores in 29 cities, 4 locations, and 50 stores. So so I want to be able to get, I want to tell, okay, so we have stores in, yeah, so I'm just going to be able to just, let's go over, okay, so I want to try if I can cover to be more today. So I just want to get the number of stores we have in, I just want to get the number of stores we have in different locations. So starting off first, I'm going to get a bar chart. So looking at this, let's go back to my data and show you what I'm trying to see now. So this is where we have our store locations. So I want to know, okay, so we have 4 locations, right? We have 4 locations. So in these 4 locations, which of these locations have the most stores? I want to use that to, going further. Okay, so this location have this amount of stores. So I just need that information. So I'm going to create like this bar chart. I'm just going to do a view fit to screen so I can work with this better. Fit with. Let's enlarge this. And so I want to tell the number of stores we have in each location. So that means I'm going to be selecting my store location. I'm trying to count it. So I'm going to place it on my y-axis again. So this is just going to be a count. So this is like a count of store locations. So I'm going to zoom in, but first let me just edit this a little bit. Let's change colors, columns, default color. Let's change default color to this gray. Then show all. I want to just tell the story of like which store location is bringing, which store location has the least amount of stores opened. I want to first see that to see if, okay, maybe should I look into opening a store there? Is that place a profitable region as well? So I'm going to just highlight this with like this purple color, same purple. Then I'm going to go ahead to let's just make this clearer. Let's go to the x-axis. Hmm, let's start off with the data labels first. Turn on the values. I want it to be bigger, so I think that's 85. So let's go to our x-axis now. X-axis, I'm just going to make the values 35 as well, and I'm going to turn off the title. I don't need it. I'm going to turn off the y-axis. Turn off the title first, then you go ahead and you turn off the y-axis. So I'm going to go to the general and just give this a name. Just like this, just like the distribution of stores in each location. Location, what do I type in? Location. So I'm going to increase this as well to say 40. Same 40, I think I chose there. And I'll change this to Sego UI. Now I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So you can see the distribution of stores in each location. So we have downtown, commercial, residential, and airport. So you can see that a lot of stores have been opened, which is a large amount of stores, 29 in the downtown region, and little amount of stores have been opened in airport. So I pushed this a little bit to the background so that immediately a person looks at this, the first thing their eyes is drawn to is this airport. They just see this color and they're immediately attracted. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, this looks like a small value here. So now I want to go further into this. I'm just going to create let's just go to here, get our table visual. Okay, let me just undo this. Get the table visual. So I want to start off with these store locations first. So I know now that airport is the store generates is the location with the least number of stores. So should I open a store in this location? Okay, how do I determine this? So I'm basing this off on the average revenue generated. Now I want to see what is the average revenue generated per store in every location. So basically, I'm going to be calculating the average revenue by each store in a location. So how am I going to do this? Why do I want to do this first of all? Because I have this downtown with 29 stores. So if I say, okay, let's say I create a table visual showing me downtown, commercial, residential, airports, and then I include the total revenue. You, downtown might have a very high total revenue because there are more stores open. So it's highly likely that it will have that. But is that showing me that that's the right place to go ahead and open a new store in? So that won't tell me much. What will tell me much is just how much what is the average revenue for just a single store in that location. So I'm just going to be comparing the average revenue for a single store in downtown to commercial, residential, and airport. So I have to calculate that metric as well, the average revenue per store. So I'm just going to go ahead here first to add So the table which I selected, I'm going to add the store locations first. That store locations. So now that's added. I'm going to make it clearer very soon so you can see. So next, I want to calculate the average revenue for each store. So how do I calculate this now? I'm just going to show you this. Let's go to the stores table. So this is the total number of stores we have. This column, store name. So this is going to show us the total number of stores we have here, which is 50. From here, 50 number of stores we have. But this 50 number of stores is divided. So basically what I want to do is, let's say the total number of, let's say the total revenue is, how would I put this? How would I put this? Let's say the total revenue from downtown is, let's say 50,000, and you want to get the average revenue. So that's 50,000 divided by 29 stores, right? So that's what I want to represent in the formula now. So basically, I'll start off with creating a new measure on my stores table. I'll go to a new measure. So that's going to create, and then I'm going to just rename this my average revenue per store outlet or per store. So this average revenue per store is just the total revenue, which I already calculated here. Total revenue divided by number of stores I have. So I'm going to use the store names. This is my number of stores I have. So I'm counting how many stores, number of stores. So this is just going to be stores, store name. So I'm going to come over here and just select it. I'll drag and drop this average revenue I calculated. I'm going to show you what all of this means when we zoom into the table, when we're going to see it clearly. So I want to add another metric now. There's what we call your average transaction value, and I think I talked about that earlier. Yeah, when we calculated our average transaction value. So I want to know the average on an average the average amount a customer spends in a store, in downtown location, in commercial location. So basically, what I would have to do is I would have to divide the total revenue by the number of transactions, right? Which I already have here. Average transaction values. I've done it here. So let me just show you the, where's this? The metric again. So what I did was the total revenue divided by the total number of transactions. And I said each transaction comes with a unique ID. So that's done. Let me just close this. So basically, I'm just going to drag and drop that here as well. Average transaction. Let's make it bolder. Okay. So let me just make this a little bit bolder so we can see it. Let's just make it bold. So let's just go to our format and let me just see values. So this is the first time I'm actually using Power BI to like create tables. Usually I don't go for tables, but I just wanted to try something. Five for the values. Then for the column headers, so let's just move on. So let's drag this a little bit. Let's reduce this 55. So I'm going to go to my column headers, which is like the title of each. I'm just going to 55. And I want to separate this. So separating this, I'll come to this grid and I'm going to see vertical grid lines. I'll turn it on and border, no border. I'm just going to crease it. It's not working. Wait, this is supposed to work. Change the color to this and increase the width. Okay, so you can see the vertical grid lines. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see everything properly. I'm going to be changing this average revenue per store. This is why are you showing me average revenue per store? I just calculated that metric. Average revenue per store to be in dollars. So once I select the column here, I'll this measure to the pop-up, then I'll change it here to the dollar sign I want to. And I can reduce this to just 2 decimal place, which is like dollars, cents, kind of. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. So for my average transaction value, I'm just going to rename it. It's a little bit too large. I don't want this. I'm just going to come to the measure, select the measure, and just call this my ATV, my average transaction value. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in to this table so we can make some insights. So my average transaction value, I'm just going to round this up to the nearest dollar. So I'm just going to take this to $0 so we can make comparison easier. Now I'm going to zoom in. So basically, we can now see this table to evaluate. So earlier, we created a bar chart to show the distribution of stores in each location, and we saw that airports had the least, which is just like 3 stores, compared to downtown that had like over 29 stores. Now, I wanted to know if airport is a good place to open a store. So I created this table to show, and I created a measure to calculate the average revenue for each store in a location. So for an airport store, the average revenue for just a store would be 429,000, like over $429,000. While for commercial, you have like 273. And looking at downtown, you have 293. So even though airport has just the least number of stores, so I can be able to base it well on this metric that just opening a store here will be making this amount, though this amount is within this time frame, so I can filter it for a month to see the amount we can get for like a month. Get so this is just in between this time frame. Opening a store in airports will get us much more than opening a store in this location. So considering airports, okay, so I can recommend airports, and I can also recommend the second best, which is what downtown location, which is 283. So I can decide to rank this up as well. So coming up here to average transaction value. So average transaction value is telling you the amount that your customer is going to spend in a store on average. So on average, a customer is spending $19 in airport and is spending $2 less in downtown and residential area. So even if $2 is still money. So you want to increase your revenue. You want your customers. You would want to open stores in airports and consider downtown as well and commercial. So residential is residential is probably the least place you're going to recommend. So we'll be looking at recommending airports and recommending these downtown regions. So I'm just going to zoom out so I can just go ahead. So I'll go to my view, page view, fit to it. Scroll down. So we know that these locations are the best locations to open our stores in. But which cities are we opening our stores in now? So this is where I'll create another table as well to just check which cities should we be opening our stores in. So should I just copy this and paste it? Let me just get another table. So I'm just going to get another table visual, drag and move it over. Yeah, so I'm going to just move this to the left, align this well with the previous one. So I'm going to bring my store city here, and I'm going to bring my average, my ATF as well, average transaction value. Where's that? 80. I think this is where it is, my sales. So I'm going to decide to, so there are a lot of cities, there are like 29 cities, and I just want to get like a top, let's say top 3 cities to like open a store in. So I'm just going to filter to top 3. And I see when you want to filter, you come to your filter pane and you go to the city. So this is what I want to filter, my store city. I come up to my city, basic filtering, and then I decide to choose a top N. Top N, this is just like a top number, which is 3 by what? By the metric I chose, which is like my ATV, my average transaction value. So where's my ATV? Here, this is my ATV. I'm going to drag and drop it by value. I'm filtering by ATV. So rank it up. Give me the top 3 by my average transaction value. So I'm just going to let's just increase that. Let's edit it a little bit. The values, let's change that to 55. The header, column headers, let's change that to 55. Okay, let's go ahead and include a grid line to separate. So I'm going to come to my vertical grid line, which is turned off, and turn it on. Drop down, increase the width a little bit. Change the color so it's clearly visible to this, but still not too much to draw attention. I think for the other we did like a 6. Let me just make it like a 6. So I'm going to have to drag this down a little bit. So I can move this well. Right. Drag this down a little bit. I'm going to align this with the end of this. I'm going to keep this, align this with this, and drag this downwards a little bit. Let's give them for space. So because this is just rounded up to the nearest dollars, so that is why I can't see it. I just wanted to round it up to the nearest dollar so I can be able to make comparison here easily. So I can be able to just arrive at the conclusion that you're earning just $2 more. Is rounding it a safe thing to do? I'm not really sure. So for your average transaction value here, you can tell on an average, the customer is spending more in Ciudad Victoria and Monterrey and Morelia. So there might be other important metrics to determine which store cities to invest in, but I think these are the best. This is the best I could come up with. So you might go online and see. You might be able to like do research and see okay which cities. If I want to invest in the cities, which metrics would be able to really tell me which city to invest in. So based off on this metric, my average transaction value, I'm saying I will be looking into investing in, I said investing, rather expanding my, opening a store in Store City, Ciudad Victoria. So this is the store location analysis here we did here. We talked about the stores, the location of stores, choosing that even though airport has the least number of stores, it's still generating much revenue compared to the rest. And I just showed you like a little story breakdown of like the numbers we have. So now let's check the trends. Let's go into the trend. Let's go into like the seasonal trend analysis, the time series. Let's see what's happening in each month. Let's see the sales. So I'm expanding this a little bit to the very end. I'm selecting the canvas. So I'm going to come over here and just copy this store location. So now I'm just going to drag that, drag and drop. So I'm aligning that. Control A, and I'm just going to change this to my time series analysis. Time series analysis, like seasonal trend analysis. Still makes sense. So for my time series analysis, I said for time series analysis, for analysis of change over time or like your sales trend over time, your go-to chart would be a typical line chart. But if you want to show like the magnitude, you can decide to go for an area chart. So both of them will work well, but I think going for a line chart would work well in this case. So I'm going to select my line chart. So selecting my line chart, this small little line chart, come here, come over here. So let's place this here. So for my line chart now, what do I want to see? I want to see like how my sales, how I made revenue for each month as it progresses. So I was giving like almost 2 years worth of data, but not exactly. We're giving data set of 2017 Q1 to Q4 and 2018 Q1 to Q3. So I want to just compare these two. Like I want to see the trends of these 2 years and see if there's anything like similar in it. So I'm just going to show you that a little bit. So for on your x-axis should be your date or your month or the time you're trying to see. So I'll go back to my sales, the date I made the sale, which is here. I'll drop on my x-axis. Then for my y-axis, I'll pick my sales, which is still the same thing as my total revenue. So total revenue and place it here. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to remove this year because right now it's just showing me here, showing me 20, probably 2018, 2017. So I'm going to remove this. I want to see it month. This is like a breakdown. This is like an, what do I call it? An hierarchy. Yeah, an hierarchy. So I also want to see for like 2 years, obviously. So a, I'll have to add a visual of like, I'll add this my date to this legend here. So I can filter for 2 years. So adding this date, I'm going to change it to a date hierarchy. So once that's done, it's going to change. So I'm seeing two of this. Let's come here. I'm going to remove the quarter. I want to see 2 months. I want to see January, February, and so on. So I'm going to still expand it so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to edit it first so it's clear. So the size, the font size is okay. So I'm going to just change this. So let's start with our exercises. Let's increase that to 25. Then let's turn off the title. I don't need the title. Let's go to our y-axis and we'll turn that on. Increase the font of the values to the same 35. And I'll turn off the 35. And then I'll turn off the title. So I'm going to my legend. I want my legend to be clearly visible as well. So I'm going to increase that as well. So just legend text to 35. Okay, legend text 35. So let's give it a title. So let's call it, since this is our revenues I'm plotting, I can call it like my sales trend. So okay, let's just call it my sales trend. So if there's a better title you can use for this, that would work well too. So I'm just going to increase the title to bigger font. Let's say 40. So I'm going to change these colors, the colors as well, because color is not using the colors I set. So on my visuals, I'm going to go to my lines. So under my lines, I'm going to see colors, and then I can change the color. So for 2017, I'm going to use the purple color we've been using, and for 2018, I'm just going to use this second color choice, which is like a gray, yeah, for it. So I'm going to, I think this is clear enough. I think you can see, let me just see if I can zoom in a little bit. So this is like the trend analysis here. So looking at this, we can tell that the list, this is our 2017 is this here and 2018 is this. So we can tell that we see similar trend line. It's like, so it's going, it's almost like it's following the same trend with just slight variations. We can tell that here it stopped at September because this is where our data ends in. So we don't have the full data for 2018. Also looking at this, where is the, we can tell that on August, this is where we experienced the very, what would I call this, like a decrease, yeah, a decrease in sales. This is where we experience like a decrease in sales. So I think that's one of the things we should be noting down. So as I was just creating this chart, I was like noting down some things to take into account whilst we're providing our recommendations and our insights for this business. So this is what we have so far. We just created some simple charts to answer how where we're going to expand. So now I'm just going to I'm just going to copy this as well and paste for where we write our insights and recommendations. Control C, Control V. I'm just going to drag and drop. I think I made a mistake typing here. Let me just change that. Analysis. So this is just going to be my insights and recommendations. So I like to tell my insights while I'm analyzing, like in my charts, but just for today, just get to, what was the font size I used here? I used 40. So I'm just going to select 40, try to be consistent with the font size. And this is going to be like my insights. It's capital. Insights and recommendations. Control A. I'm just going to change this to the Canberra I'm using. I think it's fine. and then I'll just make this. So for my insights and recommendations, so I'm just going to, so you can just write your insights and recommendations using a simple text box, but I'm going to do something different. I'll just insert shape. I'll insert a basic circular shape, which is this. Two 66 by 271. So I'm going to give this shape same color that I've been sticking with throughout, which is, select this, selecting page, selecting shape. I'm going to change the style, the color to the same purple I've been using, and the border to the same purple. I'm going to insert a text box to like give it like a number. So drag and drop a little bit inside of this, and let's just put a number 1. Control A and change. So I made that bigger using 60. I don't think 60 is big enough, so I'll just go down to like, let's go down to like the last 96, and then let's position it in the middle. And I want the background to be transparent, so you won't see the white, you just see it in the purple thing. Okay, it's not large enough. I don't like this line here, so I'm going to enlarge it a little bit. I think this is okay. So I'm just going to group this together. So anytime I move it, it's going to move at one. So I'm just going to select the first visual here, holding my shift key, I'll select the second one. And then I'm going to format, group, then group. So they are now grouped as one item. So I'm going to insert a text box for where I'm going to provide my insights and recommendations. Okay, no, let's just undo. I think I did something. No. So I'm going to insert a text box. So I'm just going to take 5 seconds to just plug in my laptop. So that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's just enlarge this text box a little bit. Let's align it with the rest as we've been going on. Take it to the very end. Yeah, fine. So for the first, I'm just going to select the size. So I want to provide a recommendation. So first recommendation I'll be providing based on what I've done is airport stores. Basically, I want them to open new stores in airport locations, in airports and in, let's go up, let's check that out again. So you can see Opening a store in airport is going to provide you well, and then they can also consider opening another store in commercial in downtown. I mean, in downtown rather in downtown, they can consider that as well. So you should. So I'm just going to, but I'm going to highlight airport. So I'm just going to be seeing airport stores. So my recommendation would be to open a store in the airport location. Let's increase the size. Let's see what to do. So open stores in the airport and let's say downtown location. I'm just going to make this bigger. Let's say 60 and bold and circled. So open stores in this city. Let's go for a smaller size. So I'm going to provide them insights. Why should they open stores in this city? So airports, as we analyzed earlier, we saw that airport stores had the least number of stores. So I'm just going to write airport. I don't want this circling. So 32. Let's go with 36. Airport stores with the least number of stores open, which is just 3, as you could see from the chart. So with the least number of stores opened, 3, generates the what? It generates the largest revenue per store outlet. So you can go back here and see generating the largest, which is like over 429, which is almost double this. So I'm just going to write generates largest revenue per store outlet. So that's it, still saying generates the largest average revenue. So largest revenue per store outlet is still the same as average revenue. Maybe I would increase this because it's small. I would increase the font size. So I want to tell them the number. So it generates the largest revenue per store outlet. So what is the largest revenue per store outlet? So that is, I'll just get that 429,907. So that's what I'm just going to write here. 429 9, let's just round that up to 908 USD. What else can we tell them? We could also see from this that, let me show you. We could also see from this that on an average transaction, customers spend $2 more. So they spend $2 more in airport stores, which is $19, than at commercial or downtown or residential stores. So that's what I'm going to add here as well. So I'm just going to be also on an average transaction, customers spend $2 $2 more in stores in airports. Let me just call it airport stores. It's stores more located in the airport region. So basically, I'm just saying compared to the stores in the residential and downtown, compared stores in residential and downtown. So why am I suggesting downtown to them to also consider for opening a store? So I'm going to highlight that here as well. So I'll just say, okay, downtown store. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm just typing very soon. Downtown store, what it provides the second. So once you go to this table, you see downtown stores. So I sorted this in the average transaction value. So if I sort this in this average revenue per store, I'll see downtown here coming second. So downtown provides what? Downtown provides the highest uh, second highest average revenue, second highest, let's just say second highest revenue per store outlet. So we want to tell them with numbers, we want to give them a contest. So with how much? With about 283 434 USD. So I want them to focus on the numbers and the words. So I can come ahead here. I'm going to make my airport. Let's make my airport bold basically. Airport open 3. So I'm going to make this bold. I'm going to show you this done. Making this bold as well. So I'm just making the numbers and the stores here. So you can either make it bold or probably enlarge it in size. So this is our very first recommendation. So I'm just going to I'm going to just come here to the effects and the background and change it to same background color. Okay. So let me just zoom in so you can see the first recommendations we provide. So let's zoom in. View. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is the insights and recommendations. Recommendation one: open stores in airports and downtown location. So why am I saying this? Airport stores with the least number of stores open, which is 3, generates the largest revenue per store outlet. So what do you mean by largest revenue? The amount here, 4,200 and blah blah blah. Also on an average transaction, customers spend what? They spend 2 USD more in airport stores. So these are like context of like why I'm recommending this to an employer. So I would also provide a recommendation the based on the products and based on the time series analysis as well. But the time is almost up for today's class. The time is 7:59. So I don't know. I think maybe we should take a break here and continue it tomorrow and finish up. We just need to add up the two recommendations. So the two recommendations based on the time series analysis so as well. But the time is 7:59, which is like a minute to the end of our class, and I don't want to waste anybody's scheduled time already. So I'm just going to ask for 10 minutes of your time. So just 10 minutes and we'll wrap this up. So if you want me to continue to wrap this up today, 10 minutes, let's just let me know.
Okay, so I noticed everybody's asking for a break tomorrow. I noticed today has been a lot, but I just wanted to put it out here that this is what you're going to be working on. when you start working on real life problems and when you start working as data analyst. So we just want to plead with you. She's almost done with you because she has gotten to the end of the this thing. So we just want to plead with you to just allow us 10 minutes. Tomorrow she's supposed to introduce you to your own case study that you're supposed to work with. So tomorrow's class is not even supposed to take like tops 30 minutes and we're done tomorrow. So we just need to finish this one so that tomorrow, yeah, she's giving you your own case study to go and work on. So you have a lot of time to look at this and then brainstorm on yours as well. So I don't know if that's possible, but let's just do this.
So let's just see if we can round up here. So I'm saying continue, continue, and let me just wrap this up. So I'm not going to provide second recommendation. So basically what I'm doing is I'm copying this image I've created already. So I'm just going to select the image and Control C, Control V. So that's a new copy. So I'll drag that copy and place it directly underneath. So the only thing I'm going to edit here is just the number, which is number 2. Okay, let me undo that so it doesn't disappear. So I'm going to come here and instead of just deleting it, I'll do a Control A, then change it to 2. So I'll do the same for this text. I'll just copy this here. So I'm just going to try to copy this. I think I've ended up copying a lot. Maybe I didn't realize it. See, I've copied to one more. So I'm just going to use this one more. Probably more than one. Going to remove one, remove this, remove this. So I'm going to, since I need more room, I'm going to tap on my canvas here, go to this format pane, canvas settings, then I'm going to enlarge the height by, let's say, 7.2, let's do 7.4, let's see, 7.4, then much room, enlarge this a little bit, move this downwards, select this, make a copy of this as well, Control C, and just drag and drop that copy here. Just edit the number to the third recommendation. So I could select everything once, holding my shift key, I select all the shapes and I'll go to my format. I'm going to align to the right. Then I'm going to distribute vertically since they're all stacked up on each other, not horizontally. So distribute vertically this time around. Okay, that's done. So now I'm going to provide my second recommendation. So based on what we analyzed in our stores, we can tell that toy category is the best selling product category. So let's go up here a little bit. So let's see, toy category providing about 5.09 million. So you can also select, yeah. So, I'm just going to change this text here. Toy category. Okay, so what I want them to do, I want them to stock up on toys and arts and crafts because these are the best selling items. So if you're opening a new store, you're going to be getting more orders. So you need to stock up on these products that are selling well, generating more total revenue, your toys and your arts and crafts. So I want them to stock up on. Okay. So could have done an in-depth analysis into the inventory. So, so this is just going to be stock up on toys, stock, stock, stock up on toys and arts and crafts. So, toy category is the best-selling product category. Best-selling product category with 5.09 million. We're about with over 5 million, with over 5 million generated revenue. This can be, what can we say about this? This can be attributed to the sales of some specific products. Now, when you come to your toys, you see your Lego bricks, which is also your best-selling product, generating this. So this is why this category is providing as much revenue. So this can be attributed to sales of Lego bricks. So might need to be stocking up on Lego bricks as well for sales of Lego, Lego, one of these Lego bricks. So I'm just going to add arts and crafts. It's also second best selling product with over 2 million revenue, with over 2 million revenue generated. So I'm just going to put 2 million, what, $2 million or 2 million USD. That's up here. I'm just summarizing this because we don't have time. So let me summarize this quick. So for our time series analysis, so I can emphasize on the numbers here as well. So for our time series, what I want them to notice is looking at this time series analysis, I will generate insights. Now, Power BI sometimes you can generate insights for some table. So it's basically summarizing it. So once I select this chart, I right click, I see summarize, then I click on summarize. Basically, I get this. This is my insights here popping up. So I'm just going to do Control A and make it large so we can see the insights. So match. So looking at this, I'm just going to pick on the one. So the average total revenue was higher for 2018 than 2017, and we're giving numbers, the figures. So generally, the business is doing well. Based on off of 2017, their revenue increased in the year 2018, and this is not even the full year data set. So this is looking good. Next, the total revenue for 2018 and 2017 diverged the most when the month was March. In 2018, when the month was March, we had about $294,000, which is higher than 2017. So I'm just going to show you. So this is the insights I used to provide a recommendation based on the last. So I'm just going to show you, they said March. So looking at March now here, you can see this is where you actually can see a very large difference compared to all of this. Also, we can see that the month that performed worst on the list is August. August just generally seems to have very poor sales, and February. So if they are looking to open a store or something, we're going to be telling them also to like, oh, consider making promotions during this month, like making a promotion or like discounts to encourage people to buy more during the month of February and August that performs least. So basically what I'm going to say is offer discounts in um, February and August to increase sales, and you might want to consider opening up your stores. So that's just like, let me just write that. Offer discounts in February, let me just say February and August to increase sales, to see revenue. So August recorded the least revenue. I'm just going to summarize this real quick. The least revenue generated. Discounts and promos can be offered during this month. Total revenue increased the most in March comparing to the previous year. Comparing it to previous year by what increased by $294,000 increase. So we can get this from the insights I generated. So this is just where I'm going to stop. So I'm just going to wrap this up here real quick. So one thing you can also do as well is just to bring your card visuals to the front using shadow. So I'll select this card visual, shift, select, 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 select. Go into my format pane, I would go to generals, effects, scroll downwards, I'll see shadow, I'll turn this on. Once I turn this on, it's going to bring the card visuals to the front. It's going to look a little bit, maybe slightly cool. So I'm going to do the same for this and this. Select. So I'm just going to go to general and effects, scroll down, turn on this real quick. Come here, select this, come here, select this, general, effects, shadow on. This is not necessary, this is just, should I call it vanity? This is just to make it just for aesthetics or something like that. So I'm going to select this chart. Why is this giving me this? Select this general effects shadow. Select this general shadow. So once you're done with your dashboard, you can filter here by store names to see. You can use your filter functions as well, and you can also just go here at the end to file, export your, and go to export to PDF. So it's just generally going to create a PDF report of this. I didn't remove this button here. Let me just generate the report. This is not basically so. Once it generates a report, you're going to have something like this. So I'm going to, let's see so we can see that well. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. So this is our report. So we have provided some metrics to look at, and you can filter. You can see the product analysis of which products driving the most profit. You can see the store location analysis by the numbers. We have 29 cities, locations. So scrolling down, you can see that we're trying to tell a story here that okay, the airport with the list is three. Though I could have done some conditional formatting here to also highlight that even though it's three, you come here and you see the average revenue per store being high here. So I could do conditional formatting to just highlight this in a particular color. I'll look into that. Now, for the time series analysis, we see that we have 2 years comparing 2017 and 2018. So we have this the purple line chart for the 2017 and the gray one for 2018. So we can see here, which is the month of August, which recorded the least revenue or sales provided. So our insights and recommendations provided here. So we're telling them, okay, I see here now, you can see something here because I was rushing. I didn't align this well properly. So this is not on a straight line. So that's something you want to look into. So now, open stores in airports and downtown location based on what I analyzed. I saw that you generate very a better revenue opening your stores in the airport locations, stock up on toys and arts and crafts. So these are just basic I could do with this data set, though there are more in-depth analysis any analyst can provide. So this is the end of this is the end of this case study, and this is the report I've created for this. So thank you for sticking to the end, even though I took a little bit of your time. I apologize for that. So tomorrow we'll have time to go to your case study, and maybe I can answer your questions relating to this as well. Relating to this, because I know today was just a little walkthrough, and I didn't have time to take your questions. So tomorrow we'll go over this, and we'll go over a case study, or just tomorrow we'll just once tomorrow reaches, we'll know what our outline for tomorrow is. So thank you for joining in today. So once you export to PDF here now, I have this in my Google this, then I can decide to save it. So once I save this, I'll go to this site, I love pdfdrive.com, and convert it to like a JPEG, which is like a picture format. So once I do that, I can share it online in a clear format. But if I was going to share this report on LinkedIn, I will just share it with PDF. PDF will offer you the eye clear a very clear visual on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, post your dashboards or your reports as PDF format, and on Twitter, you can post it as a PNG format when you convert it. So that's just my tip for you. And thank you very much for attending today's session case study walkthrough. I know it was a bit much to take in, but tomorrow, let's see. I'll take some questions tomorrow. So thank you very much. I'm just going to end the session now so you can get back to your activities of the day. So thank you once again for tuning in.